Jack Eichel hits the 90-point plateau as he notches yet another VGK hat trick, their third in 4 games. Goals are coming in bunches as VGK downs the Wild on the road 5-1 last night with a 3-goal outburst in the third period. We'll catch up on last night's game and much, much more right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, host of the Believe in Vegas podcast, longtime sportscaster, marketing and event consultant, along with Chris Golick. Our intros are much longer than the show these days. Collectibles editor for the Hockey News and owner of Silver State Cards and Sports. Coming up ahead on today's show, injuries are mounting for VGK late in the season. And how is VGK able to score so many goals of late? A lot more on the way on this edition. If this were a preview of a potential first-round matchup between the Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild, it probably will be a sweep because VGK swept they swept the season series. Okay, so Kaprizov and other players were in action. They're still out. VGK absolutely has the strong upper hand, and they flexed it last night in a 5-1 W, Chris, over the Wild to kick off a 3-game road swing. And the Golden Knights' Jack Eichel was the top star of the game. And the hat trick now up to 90 points on this season. The icing on the cake, though, was that Eichel scoring goal on the 2-on-1 late in the contest against an aging Marc-Andre Fleury. Mark AF just back in the day, he just would have poke checked Eichel with the stick and taken him out. But slow reactions, and then Flower pounds his stick onto the ice. Afterwards, he was really upset. So in disgust, we saw Fleury last night. But let's talk about first and foremost the performance of Eichel. And we can't say enough about what he's done for the team this season. And he's got a new life again. Might have struggled a little bit fatigued and tired after the Four Nations face-off. But he comes back here, and, boy, we really would like to see him hit the 100-point mark. That would be terrific.
He's going to get 100 points before Ovi gets his 6 more goals, I think. Yeah, I mean, Eichel,
there's 7 points in 2 games right now for Eichel.
Jeez, that's a lot. I don't know. 90 points on the season, 26 and 64 plus 31. As far as NHL scoring leaders, he's right up there with, he's ahead of McDavid, right up there with McKinnon, Kucherov, and I'm sure I'm forgetting someone I shouldn't be. And it's just like superstar, elite. Eichel is finally growing to his, I hate to say max potential because I don't want to cap him. I want to see how much better he might do next year and the year after. Contract year coming to watch it. I think next year is his contract year, so that's gonna be
one more year.
Yeah,
so they might.
So it's the contract year next year, then, right?
Yeah. So over the summer,
I feel like July 2nd, Kelly McCrimmon locks him up.
Okay.
Extends him, but whatever. Moving on from that, Eichel
over under July 2nd and a hook.
Yeah, July 2nd and a hook. That's probably under. I would probably say, honest to God, they might just lock him up for 8 more years at about $12 million and call it good and bite the bullet for the last 2 or 3 if you need to.
Think he wants more than 12? He might want more than 12.
He might. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Okay.
There's really not enough good things to say about Eichel. The only thing left to say is, can he do it in the playoffs? Well, he did it once before in the playoffs, so there's no reason why he can't do it in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. And more is going to be asked of him, not knowing the hurdle situation as well. So obviously good on Jack to do what he did last night. And, you were mentioning a tired Marc-Andre Fleury and everything, and back in the day, we're talking about a goalie who's got a .903 save percentage this season and a .278 goals against. So Fleury's still doing well. Fleury's still got it. He's very serviceable.
Ever would have given up a hat trick to anyone.
Well, that last goal was weak. Fleury was
He would have
toast.
taken out.
He was
would have
toast.
taken
I'm with
him
you.
out.
He was toast.
He was
at that point.
toast. Yes. I said on yesterday's preview show that I felt that winning faceoffs would be a key. It was 30-21, the advantage for the Golden Knights,
There you go.
including that faceoff win. And I said offensive zone faceoffs would be important. And I know that one led to a goal. I'm trying to think if there were any other ones. There was an empty net goal, and of course the transitional goals there.
That's what
for
players in the 70s getting empty net goals. Jersey numbers in the 70s.
That's right. At least it wasn't 71. 30-21 was the advantage in the dot. 59-41%. And those offensive zone faceoffs, we knew that Minnesota was not very good. They were weak in that area. And the top dish of the night has to go, when you talk about assists, to Mark Stone, the behind the back no look pass to Eichel. That was a beaut, another beaut for VGK.
Yeah, I think the goal you're referencing off of face-off was the power play goal, Jack Eichel's
It was a power play goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Stone, another magnificent season as well. Largely healthy, despite having a zipper on his forehead. Looks like Frankenstein out there. That was there was some fun shots and warm-ups, and then he got to do one of the what did he do, the pregame or intermission? He did an interview somewhere along the way.
Did he get stitched up?
Well.
Did he say?
Oh, he's stitched up. You can see it in warm-ups. They showed him that he's got a zipper. He's literally got a zipper right now. It's pretty funny.
Jeez, ouch.
So it looks like they didn't give him enough stitches. It looks like it looked like back in the day. I think
they ran out of stitches. You think maybe?
Yeah. But Mick Kern used to talk about this.
Is there a stitch? I'm just wondering if there's a stitches shortage in Las Vegas.
I don't know.
We might have to donate.
Mick Kern on the NHL Network talked about, and obviously this happened at home, but you back in the 80s and 90s and 70s, you did not want to get cuts when you were on the road and need stitches, because the home team's doctor or stitcher or whoever you want to call it does the work. And if you needed, 12 stitches, you got about 4, you got about 5. So that's what Mark Stone's forehead looked like. It looked like he could have used a couple more in there, but
he ran out. But terrific performance, and Stone having another good season. Brett Howden now up to 20 goals on the season. The off the glass trick shot that went in, and on the post game
Fleury was
show,
asleep on that one.
Oh my gosh, yes, he was napping most of the night. Us old timers need our naps there. I think he took.
To be fair, the whole team was napping. The Wild were tired. Was it 15-4 1 point in the shots early on or something?
They were so tired. Yes, it's not rigged though. But okay, back to the action here.
5-1. Someone called that in the panel yesterday.
Someone did. Oh, Eichel had 6 shots on goal. Shoot the stinking puck, Jack. He's finally starting to catch up.
Percentage.
Okay.
14-9 high danger chances for the Golden Knights as well last night.
Yeah, that's a fatigue team. They just
of course you knew it. They're injured and fatigued on a back-to-back. That's why I haven't made a sports bet in a while because I kind of suck at it, but I feel like if I would have been riding VGK the last couple of weeks, or at least riding my my locks of the night, I think I would have made some money.
Yeah, you definitely would have. So now 4 consecutive wins for the Vegas Golden Knights. They do have a lot of momentum, and in the season series, they win 3-0 over the Wild. I think they won 5 straight over Minnesota. I just think it's one of those teams that they have their number.
Yeah. I mean, they had a good playoff series a few years back. I think it went 7 games.
It went 7 games, but I think
7 games. But listen, if and I say if because the St. Louis Blues all of a sudden are shot out of a cannon. St. Louis Blues might wind up being the first round matchup.
How about that?
If the Blues don't win the Central the way they're playing, good God, they might not lose another game the rest of the season.
They're like the Predators of a season ago. Did they not take them to the show?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And listen, we've seen this song and dance with the Blues. I think I talked about this yesterday or last week or something, where all of a sudden the calendar turns February, they get hot, and boom, now all of a sudden, hey, Stanley Cup, good for you, St. Louis. So, I mean, team talk about trading Braden Shen and stuff, and they let Brandon Saad go. Maybe Brandon Saad was the problem, Tony. Maybe Saad was the problem. So, yeah, back to Minnesota. If the Golden Knights and Wild do meet, the games will not be anything like this last one. There's no back-to-backs. I don't know what Kaprizov's situation is, to be fair. I think Joel Eriksson is out as well.
They don't have a timeline, was the latest that I saw.
That's not good. I mean, Kaprizov, you take Kaprizov away from that team, they're not winning anything in the
No,
playoffs. So.
no, he's the heart and soul for sure.
Yeah,
And
he's one of the best. He'd be up there in points with the great Jack Eichel if it wasn't for his injuries.
later on, we'll talk more about this scoring spree, but the Golden Knights now with 3 hat tricks in the last 4 games. And I did a little research last night during the game between bufferings. Which team do you think, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, has the record for most hat tricks in a season?
Which team most, like, ever?
Ever, yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Edmonton Oilers, 83-84.
Oh, God. Okay. You're going to say Yari Curry, Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky, Paul Coffey.
Right. 21 hat tricks. And so we're like, oh, this is crazy how many hat tricks VGK has. 83-84, Edmonton Oilers achieved 21 hat tricks in a season.
Did I get the players right? Did you have the players or anything on that? Or no?
No, I'm
you
sure.
You said 83-84?
Yeah, I'm sure that's that era, of course. So how else would they have scored that many? But that's like insane.
Yeah, no, I want to look at here's the roster and stats.
How many does VGK have this season then? 5?
I think so, something like that. So, all right, here we go. So, Wayne Gretzky was okay that year with 205 points. Glenn Anderson had 54 goals. Yari Curry 52. Mark Messier 37. Paul Coffey, the defenseman, with 40 goals. Then you go back to Pat Hughes, Willie Lindstrom.
You say 205 points. Yes, we knew
no
that.
Big deal. 205 points. Yeah, Jack Eichel. You're not even half of Wayne Gretzky's. Oh, and Gretzky, hold on, Tony. In that 205 points, he only played 74 games. He didn't even play the whole season.
Paltry compared to the great one. Like double the amount of
22-year-old Wayne Gretzky. So Wayne Gretzky, Glenn Anderson, Yari Curry, Paul Coffey, Mark Messier. Here's the crazy thing, Tony, about all those players I just listed. Not one of them over age 23. Yari Curry was 23. Gretzky, Glenn Anderson, Paul Coffey, Mark Messier were all 22 years old. The future was bright in Edmonton in 1983-84.
I think so. Oh my! Just about like okay. So
Grant Fuhr's got to be the goalie, right? Grant Fuhr's got to be the goalie. Oh, Andy Moog and Grant Fuhr. Yes, the Moog.
M-double-O.
378 goals against, 391 goals against. Save percentages of 882 and 883.
Fuhr was one of my favorite radio guests of all time. He was super. Coming up next.
Oh, what a segment.
Injuries are catching up to VGK. We'll talk about how injuries impacted last night's lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights and moving forward as we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all that you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you to reach the right candidates faster. And of course, myself and Chris are both independent contractors that have our own businesses, and we need to sometimes hire. So we definitely have reached out to Indeed in the past. And I've been in that spot, when you're talking about needing the right hire like yesterday, and the pressure's on, and every day without the right person is a setback. That's exactly when Indeed's sponsored jobs come in handy, and they make sure that your post is seen by the right candidates and right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process. You'll receive a $75 sponsored job credit if you go today to Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen. I always wake up with songs in my head. So today it was All Along the Watchtower. Jimi Hendrix, you see, there must be some way out of here. Yeah, that's what that reference is. Of course, don't forget on Fridays, I like to look Golick. That was pretty good. I didn't mean to put you on the spot with the Oilers, but that was pretty good trivia.
I'm tweeting about it right now, actually.
It's pretty crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
That's just an
21 hatties, right? 21?
Yeah, 21. And wait, did they play 82 games back then? I wonder.
Glenn Anderson and Paul Coffey had 80. I'll bet it was 80.
So Fior played every game that season.
No.
Just how many games did he play? 70 some odd. What did he play?
45 and 38. So they chopped it up.
Okay, there was one season. Look up Fior because I
know goalies used to be. I'm sure it was injury related, but I know goalies used to play.
Look up Fior. Just see how many go.
Yeah, I will later. I'm doing this tweet right now. This is fun.
Just for stuff and giggles, like check it out though, because he would play a back-to-back. He didn't care. That's when goalies were real men. Okay, so a last-minute scratch for VGK last night. Alex Pietrangelo. And one of our good friends there on the X Twitter was saying, you guys have been saying for a long time to shut this guy down. He's out with that lower body injury listed as day-to-day. So does that mean he's out for the remainder of the season? Probably still aggravation of a groin injury. Who knows? Lower extremities. I wonder if it has to be the issue that he had where he needed a minor to correct a minor ailment back there around the Four Nations. It kept him out of action there. But Pietrangelo shut down for the Vegas Golden Knights. And so now you have also Tomas Hertl out. And then you wind up having, of course, Hertl not even on this trip. And we won't know till VGK gets back what the situation is. Unless they allow Cassidy to tell us what's happening. And then Shea Theodore returns to the ice and into the lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights. He had been out since the Four Nations when he broke his wrist, and he had an assist on the night last night.
Theodore looked fine.
Yeah, 48 points now.
Yeah, no, and Theodore looked fine last night too. Like he looked like he hadn't really missed a beat. You saw one time, I think, in the second period where he just kind of rushed the puck in deep, but he was responsible enough to get back. And you miss that mobility that he possesses at the blue line as well. He can extend plays from the blue line, does a good job keeping the puck in while being creative. At times, it's going to bite him in the butt, but that's what every offensive defenseman goes through. They're going to go through moments where they take that chance, and it's going to lead to a turnover, an odd man rush, or a breakaway for the opposition. You just live with that. With Shea Theodore, Cale Makar, Roman Josi, Quinn Hughes, Zach Rowensky, you just got to live with that with those types of defensemen at times. But good to see Theodore back. One door closes, another one opens, I guess, so to speak. But back to Pietrangelo. I mean, I do wonder if this was something that happened specifically in the Sunday game or the back-to-backs, maybe is a better way to say that, or if this is simply a shutdown. I hope it's a shutdown. I hope it's he's really banged up. Let's just give him, a day off.
What was your tweet the other day where you just said, like,
shut him down?
You said
back-to-backs. I mean, the tweet was the tweet I think you're referencing was Ben Hutton on a milk carton. Has anyone seen him before?
Right.
And then why are the Golden Knights not using Hutton to spell Pietrangelo?
This is
and
amazing.
Put pressure on Zach Whitecloud.
We don't know, though. We just don't know what's going on with this team.
No, and listen, it's game 71 or whatever right now. You're not going to get it either. This is where in game 42, who gives a stuff about competitive advantage? But now the competitive advantage does matter. They're going to be a little more careful about, especially someone like Pietrangelo, who's going to log 23 minutes a night, assuming this injury isn't anything major. So they're going to be very tight-lipped. I didn't really watch the presser last night. I don't know if any state run even brought it up or not.
All I saw was this from Cassidy.
That's fine.
It was just, it was.
That's fine. I mean, I'm sure Gary Lawless is a trainer and gave his recommendation, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I wonder how that is going there, huh?
I'm sure those two are fine. I'm sure they're probably drinking the bar afterwards and laughed it off.
Nick Waugh was the second line starting center last night.
I couldn't have butchered the lines anymore. We talked about this, I think, in parts of two segments.
Oh, no, you didn't say that. You did. You butchered it. Yeah. No,
I butchered everything. I said, I thought you had two options. I thought elevating Will Karlsson or 20-goal scorer Brett Howden, I thought.
The Howden line. The return of the Howden line.
Carlson going to the bumper on the power play, that's the one I did not have.
Well, we did talk about that a little bit, sort of.
We said Mark Stone.
I said he's so.
We said Mark Stone and put Olsen on one of the elbows possibly, but
Right.
or Brandon Saad was another one. But I mean, William Carlson, listen, he's very responsible. I understand. And you look at what's left now. The Golden Knights are a one power play unit team. It's when the playoffs start, it's going to be a minute 45 for the top unit, and then if there's a whistle late, they'll reset the lines for the player coming out of the box. But you
notice when there's an empty net situation, Carlson's not even on the ice anymore for the most part.
He wasn't out on the ice for that one last night. Really?
I don't think so.
I'd be shocked unless it was an icing scenario. I'd be shocked if Carlson wasn't on the ice.
Why would he be on the ice with Pearson? Yeah,
I've got the visualizer here.
I saw number 70 out there, so I was happy. But in any event, and then
the Golden Knights were 1, 2, 3. They had 5. Okay, it was the fourth line. It was the Howden line. Good. It was the Howden line.
Perfect. They deserve it. Pay them off. The defensive pairings. So you have McNabb and Theodore. You have Hannafin, Whitecloud, and Hagen Korzak. So, and they have fresher legs. Let's face it. I mean, even if you're not doing everything well defensively, the legs are fresher there now with Shea Theodore back in. And, I don't see
Pietrangelo out.
Right. I'm saying without Pietrangelo. Yes.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
Subtraction, basically now, I think personally, because more youth out there, I think too.
I guess with the Pietrangelo situation, the question that I have is
he was a liability for a while, man.
Liability is a strong word. I think not anywhere near his max potential of a number one shot. I think he was a glorified third pairing player for a while.
Was pretty harsh. You remember exactly what you said.
Early in the season, I was happy about him.
No. Yeah, happy earlier, but like last week or a couple of weeks ago.
No, I talked about him being a liability, definitely. And there's no doubt I talked about being a liability and shut him down. He's a turnstile. He's out there.
Strong, Golick.
He's out there playing. I think Cam Russell was an old defenseman for the Blackhawks. That was just a turnstile. You go through the. Never mind. Anyway, so Pietrangelo, I had a thought going somewhere. Fresher legs, Ben Hutton.
Legs, shut him down.
So the question I have about Pietrangelo, I got it back now. The question about Pietrangelo
back to us.
Is this a new injury? Is this an injury as a result of the Golden Knights? He had an ailment. He did not play the Four Nations.
It was a minor ailment.
It was okay. Fine. He had a minor ailment. Did this minor ailment become a big problem? Or I'll see you that and I'll raise you.
Especially
was this the plan?
The local media, well, it could have been the plan, but the local media, as soon as he came back, he's refreshed and he's ready.
No, he wasn't any of that. Anyone who gave many flowers outside of a couple good performances was drinking on the job. I mean, Pietrangelo was not good for a long period of time after the Four Nations. Small pockets, yes. Small pockets, absolutely.
For the most part, for
the most part, he was a third line, a third pairing player.
I thought he was that extra defenseman for a minute.
I mean, whatever. I mean, but now, like I said, here's the questions: is this a planned shutdown late in the season to get him some rest, or did this ailment really become a big problem? And now the Golden Knights are staring down the barrel of the gun without Hertl and Pietrangelo. I said they're not winning a cup if Pietrangelo misses more than one playoff series. I'll triple dog down there that if Pietrangelo isn't out there for the first round, the Golden Knights are done, even if they play the Wild. In the story.
Somehow they are compensating. Coming up next, VGK has been
regular season compensating, not playoffs.
Explosive of late are the Golden Knights. 3 hat tricks over the past 4 games. We'll talk about it next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of coffee. That's right.
Yes.
But I got tired of settling for grocery store brands that just weren't cutting it. That's why I turned in and checked out Trade. And let me tell you, this coffee is definitely next level. Trade, the #1 specialty coffee marketplace in the U.S., bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters, and their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, and they've curated over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you are new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you, which I think is really good. And yeah, I think we need another sample of trade coffee, right, Golick? I think so.
I got 2 bags.
I took their, yeah, geez, dude, you're special. You are extra, Golick. And I took their quick quiz, and in under a minute, they matched me with a roast that was fresh. It smelled incredible and tasted even better. My first bag was a game changer. That had this rich chocolatey flavor, so it was really good. And it had such a smooth and rich flavor, and I can actually taste the difference from my usual coffee. And the subscription makes it so easy. No more last-minute grocery store runs or settling for whatever is on the shelf. And if you don't love your first bag, no worries, because Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right. So check it out here. Again, our good friends of Locked On Golden Knights, right now, we've got a deal for you. Get 40% off of your first order at drinktrade.com/LockedOnNHL. Again, drinktrade.com/LockedOnNHL, and you'll receive $40 off of your first order. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. What do you have there on Show and Tell Day? What is that?
I got the Juggernaut coffee. This one's good.
What? How did you got an extra bag, bro?
That's a good one. Sort of dark, really good. It's a drip. No chocolate flavor or anything, but it's a good one. I like it.
And it's nice.
In my quiz, I said no chocolate.
Okay, today, and of course, here in honor of Trade, we are roasting a lot of players here at Petrangelo. Don't forget Fridays, WTF, Saturdays, sometimes Chris Jr. show. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel, where many of you are tuned in right now. What do you think how can we attribute what's happening to VGK and this recent scoring spree? I'm calling it a scoring spree. I think, a big turning point for the Golden Knights. Now they're missing some pieces, but there for a brief moment, there were consistent lines. And Cassidy said, and I think a big turning point too, was after the Detroit game where they actually had a chance to practice. They had a chance to practice, which they never have, and it's just so difficult. How are we going to practice when, in between car washes and car detailing? When are we going to practice, VGK? I think that also was a turning point here. Had a little bit of rest there. That 4-day gap?
They're going to crush Chicago. They'll have a practice tomorrow.
Another practice? Are you kidding me? At this time of year, this is
they're going to practice
more
tomorrow.
than rigged.
They're going to practice tomorrow.
So what do you think perhaps a turning point was for the Golden Knights as far as just breaking out there and scoring goals? At the start of the season, they scored a ton. They had a little dip there. They came back, and post Four Nations, I think they are back on track. And to Golick's point yesterday, they could be, or right now they are, a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, because it's going to be rigged. They'll play Minnesota. They'll sweep them in the first round. Go ahead.
Now, if Hurdle and Petrangelo are gone for an extended period of time.
Do you think that's going to catch up with them? That's what I meant to ask you.
I think in the playoffs, I don't know if it's going to catch up in the regular season, because they have the one of the softest remaining regular season schedules, as we've talked about. So I think the Golden Knights can get through it. We're starting to talk about clinching scenarios like baseball, as far as, I think they'll clinch a playoff spot in the next 4 points or something like that. Whatever the math is, who cares? No one cares about that. Although teams are celebrating clinching the playoffs right now. Just stop
dumb.
it. That's dumb. At least if you're a division leader at this stage of the season, stop it.
Okay, so you win your first game in March Madness, right? And then they celebrate and get blown out in the next game.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
How do you celebrate after every single win during March Madness like that and going crazy? You shouldn't do that.
I'm thinking more or less how the baseball players celebrate and stuff like that. But
joke.
Going back to,
They just wrapped up a wild card berth, and they're jumping around like banshees.
yeah, no, shut up. Last 4 games, I mean, they've scored 5, 11, scored 20 goals in the
Tony in
last
there.
4
Wow.
games since being shut out by the Red Wings in a scheduled loss. Sabres game, they put up a 3-spot, lost in the shootout, whatever to that, beat the Blue Jackets 4-0. Run into a hot goalie in Tristan Jerry that game. They probably could have had 4 or 5 goals, but they didn't. Crazy game to the Kings. They lose 6-5. Shut out the Penguins 4-0 at home. Beat the Leafs 5-2 at home. Beat the Devils 2-0 at home. And then they put up a 7-spot against the Blackhawks. That was a crazy game where the Hawks almost clawed back in. And then they had that strange game against the Kings where they ended up being a 5-2 loser, where I believe they led going into the third period that game. So, what do I attribute it to? Jack Eichel is amazing. Mark Stone, everything is working out. Pavel Dorofeev has been a gem. Brett Howden has 20 friggin' goals this year. Tomas Hertl's been having a career season that, in his as he enters his second decade, I think, of NHL competition.
And of course, Kelly McCrimmon would say that they're exceeding their contracts and everything. Like
Brett Howden is doubling his contract, right? Or
that's amazing.
Having his contract. It's crazy.
Well, he's still going strong. Kolasar's cooled off, but those two, again, you can't say it enough, just their dedication in the offseason, and it's paid off for them. The biggest surprise.
Howden hasn't scored 20. I think he combined for 23 goals his last 3 seasons, they said on the broadcast or something.
Is that right? State Run had a good stat there. Wow.
They had a couple of good stats. They talked about
nighttime minus was still buffering. That was a terrific.
It was buffering the whole
game. My goodness.
They showed and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but basically this is their best scoring month and their best defensive month right now. We got a little bit left to go still, a few more games, but I guess the only concern, and maybe this is a napkin topic, are the Golden Knights peaking at the wrong time.
That is something I had in my notes, and yes, we can do that because you don't want to
for that, but whatever. No? We'll save that. We got a blank slate tomorrow, so
okay, we do.
Because they all play till Friday.
They do. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna practice on Thursday.
Where do they go today to go see the Blob, or what is that thing called in Chicago?
The Bean. The Bean in Millennium Park.
The Bean.
Okay, go get some Chicago food. Go hang out. Go
Portillo's.
I don't know.
Is that it? Was that the place?
Portillo. I don't know. If you're in the city, I wouldn't do Portillo's. I would do a pizza joints. I do a pizza place.
All right. Biggest surprise for VGK of this season is Bruce Cassidy's. He owns it now. Power play unit. Another goal last night. So 1 for 1 last night. 1 for 4 against Tampa. 2 for 2 against Detroit. 1 for 3 against Boston. It's 5 of 10, 50% in the last 4 games. And they just keep coming in waves on the power play. It's really clicking right now. And the structure, obviously. And when you have the right players in that system for Cassidy, it's going to work. It's always going to work. And another terrific coaching job. Does Cassidy, I got to ask you here, does Cassidy
Jack Adams
win the Jack Adams? He's never won it, right? I don't think
I mean, maybe he's in the discussion. He should have been in the discussion in the Stanley Cup year. I thought that was a joke.
What about this year?
He wasn't among the top 3. I mean, Spencer Carberry is going to win it hands down, number 1. Let's be clear about this. He'll be not unanimous because local Vegas media, I'm probably will skew that a little bit, but he'll be pretty close to.
There were no hats on the ice for the Eichel hattrick last night.
Eichel.
I don't know where I was going there. I was trying to say for the Eichel hattrick, and because local media wasn't there to throw their hats here. Okay, go ahead.
I would probably say Carberry, just for the finalist, maybe. Carberry, I would maybe throw. And I don't know his name offhand.
Cassidy deserves votes, and I'm a tough grader, right? I'm tough.
Well, I was gonna say the Ottawa Senators coach. I think they're doing some real strong things right now. Cassidy is probably in the top 5. Does he make the third spot?
DeBoer is the candidate, but he would just be at the podium, get pissed off, and walk off.
No, DeBoer, you expect this. Like, I'm trying to think of teams who are doing something that's not expected.
This is expected for VGK because the loss of all that scoring from a season ago, I can make a good argument.
No, you can. It's fair, Tony, but now you're starting to sound like local media, to be fair as well. So
parking lot. No, come on. I think it's a legitimate deal. Come on. What I call them?
Well, let's debate it tomorrow. Topic number 2. Topic number 1 was something I said a second ago.
You said peaking at the wrong time.
Peaking at the wrong time is Cassidy, Jack Adams finalist.
Oh, this is great. Okay.
Anything else for tomorrow's show? We got really 5 minutes over. We can keep
more
planning.
about the Edmonton Oilers and the 21 hat tricks in a season. That number is just mind.
That was some great that team. Oh my God.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. Of course, especially our everydayers. Please make sure that you subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. And don't forget, Fridays are WTF. This week is Dragon. There's not another game till Friday.
Life is
don't forget to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We're back at home this week, the Vegas Thrill, Sunday night. So check that out.
Nice.
Plug in there. For my man, Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please, folks, take care.